This is the Ohio AgNet from the voice you know at the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF and Zidua, the most trusted name in herbicides, providing Ohio soybean and corn acres with up to 2 weeks more residual activity and broad-spectrum weed control. I'm Ty Higgins. The Jackson County Regional Livestock Market will have a bred cow sale tomorrow, 6 p.m. Visit jcrlm.com. jcrlm.com for details, your livestock authority. Putting grain marketing on AutoSteer, new tools making farming safer for everyone, and our first Feeding Farmer stop is in the books. This morning's news feed is brought to you by Tempty, now factory direct in Sidney. From trailer sales to parts and trailer service, the Tempty team is ready to keep you moving. Stop in today or call 326-206-2062. Had a great visit yesterday in Shelby, Ohio, Richland County, with the Horst family. They were the winners of our Feeding Farmers Week 1 with Ag Revolution and Paradise Energy Solutions. Lyndon Horst is part of the Mennonite community, so he doesn't listen to Ohio AgNet the same way you're listening now. There's a different way that he and his family get his farm news from us.
We call into a podcast. So there's a company that links the call-in number with different podcasts, and so we call into this number so we can listen to your podcast. Yeah.
You can check out the highlights from yesterday's visit with the new video online now at ohioagnet.com. Experts say farmers can take some of the pressure off by putting parts of their marketing plan on what they call AutoSteer. One option is using open or target orders, allowing growers to set a desired price and let their grain buyer execute the sale if the market reaches that level. It's a simple strategy that can help farmers capture opportunities without consistently monitoring price swings, especially during busy times in the field. These orders, sometimes called good till canceled, stay in place until they're filled or removed. You can read more about putting your grain marketing on AutoSteer online now at ohioagnet.com. Let's check in with our weekly update from the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff dollars at work with Dusty Sonnenberg.
I'm joined today by Taylor Dill. Taylor is Director of Research for the Ohio Soybean Council. Taylor, as we look at farmers getting out in the field, we want to talk about the importance of seed treatments and some of the impacts that seed treatments can have versus the concept of planting naked or planting untreated seed.
For most of our seedling diseases that are particularly worrisome, especially in Northwest Ohio, where Phytophthora and Pythium kind of can be a huge issue, those are going to be usually in a range of an earlier planting date because your soil temperatures are probably not steadily warmer than 60 or so for a while. So you're going to be floating in that range of soybeans germinate a little bit earlier. The rule of thumb used to be they'll germinate at about 50 degrees. We found that they actually germinate at a little bit colder than that. The ranges of like temperature needed is that 50 to 60 degree range. And so that actually sits in a lot of our April and probably a good part of our early May timeframe, which are also our best planting date time ranges for most of the state. If you know that you have those diseases in the field, because they're soil-borne diseases, so if you've seen them before, they're probably living on, and most of them will live in corn. They might not hurt corn, but corn is usually an alternative host for a lot of these. So you're probably not in your rotation getting something that it won't live in. So if you have it, it'll probably stay in there for a while. Probably best to look at seed treatments if you know you have it because it's going to be in your range. But now I will say in Battle for the Belt, when we got to plant in March, we planted very early. And when you're planting really early like that, you're a little bit outside of those temperature ranges because it's just too cold for it to infect, even if it is a little bit wet. There are some factors like that. But I will say in our look at these big giant ranges of planting dates, we always had a pretty stacked seed treatment on top of it. So we didn't see a lot of disease, but we also shouldn't have seen a lot of disease because we had it really protected.
My guest again, Taylor Dill, Director of Research for the Ohio Soybean Council, and this update brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and Soybean Checkoff.
Dusty, thank you so much. Let's check the forecast now. Brought to you by Seed Consultants, simply better performance. Online at seedconsultants.com. Here's Ryan Martin.
After dealing with on-again, off-again moisture yesterday, we're going to be putting together a fully dry Thursday here across the region. Sunshine, temperatures at very pleasant levels. We've got a frontal boundary building to the west of us. I don't think it makes it through for the daytime hours tomorrow. So Friday, most of the day turns out partly sunny. A front of boundary sweeps through as we move through the evening and overnight. I think moisture lingers in eastern Ohio right on through a Saturday mid-afternoon. But we're looking at 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of moisture out of that frontal passage. Clearing out for Sunday. Monday starts with sunshine, but a frontal boundary moving in looks strong. Rain and thunderstorms late Monday night into early Tuesday can bring us anywhere from 1/4 to 1.5 inches of rain, maybe some strong to severe weather. Dry next Tuesday afternoon. It rains back Wednesday. Cold to finish the week. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Ryan. Experts with Ohio Agribility say simple changes to tools and equipment can make a big difference, not just for farmers with disabilities, but for anyone working long hours in physically demanding conditions. Universal Design focuses on creating equipment and workspaces that are easier to use for people of all ages and abilities, helping reduce strain on the body while improving efficiency. That can include things like extended tractor steps, added handrails, and portable ladders that can make it easier and safer to climb onto equipment. Other tools like portable ramps or adjustable lighting can improve visibility and access across the farm. The goal is to reduce injury risk while allowing farmers to stay productive longer, especially as many operations include multiple generations working side by side. Experts say these improvements don't have to be complicated. Even small adjustments to equipment or workflow can help reduce wear and tear on the body over time. The bottom line, designing farms with everyone in mind can lead to safer, more efficient operations across the board. You can read more about making the farm safer and more accessible for everyone involved online now at ohioagnet.com. The Eagle Nest Hatchery in Morrow County has found new wings. Allison Kinney has that story.
Dustin Drake, the new owner of Eagle's Nest Hatchery, is using his experience in the poultry industry, which all led to his acquisition of the business.
The acquisition, we'll say, started way over a year ago. And so we worked with, like I said, Bill and Kay of getting everything put together and what we needed to do here. And then the formal purchase was all signed and everything in the 25 of September is when we sealed all the deal there. We started the facilities here that we built here in outside of Mount Gilead on 121. We broke ground on August 11th.
For more information and a tour of the facilities, the video can be found at ocj.com. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Allison Kinney reporting.
What could be done at the federal level to impact fertilizer prices? Joe Everett has that in today's featured audio coming up next on the Ohio AgNet.
Is it time to renew your Medicaid coverage? Don't miss out. When you renew your AmeriHealth Caritas Ohio benefits on time, you keep more than just your health care. You keep your extra perks too. That means doctor visits, dental, vision, plus extra benefits like school supply funds, baby essentials, rewards for health trivia games, and more. Don't risk losing the coverage and extras your family counts on. Visit AmeriHealthCaritasoh.com/renew today. That's AmeriHealthCaritasoh.com/renew.
Looking for heavy equipment but don't know where to buy? Purple Wave Auction has you covered. Always online and always no reserve. It's your destination for construction or ag equipment ready to work. We even sell semis, trailers, and fleet equipment for your operation. Best part? It's free to join. Head to purplewave.com. That's purplewave.com. Sign up for a free account and start bidding today. Purple Wave Auction, the easiest and most straightforward way to buy and sell equipment.
Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. I'm Joe Everett. It should come at no surprise that fertilizer prices remain a major concern for farmers across the country, and now the federal government says it's stepping in with new investments and trade-backed funding to help ease that pressure. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins says the plan is focused on rebuilding domestic production and reducing reliance on foreign supply.
We've got an all tools in the toolkit approach right now for the short term. And then for the long term, we're really looking to see how to onshore or reshore what we have moved out of America over the last couple of decades. Looking at potential investments from the Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, some of the tariff money perhaps being used to reinvest there. So we'll be announcing, I'll be in Missouri on Friday to talk a little bit more about this, and then hopefully next week we'll be able to release a pretty significant plan on how we're going to approach both the short term and the long term here for our farmers.
Rollins told lawmakers the administration is looking to direct tens of billions of dollars from tariffs and renegotiated trade agreements into fertilizer production here at home. The goal is to strengthen infrastructure, stabilize prices, and give farmers more certainty heading into future growing seasons. The move comes as producers continue to face tight margins, with input costs remaining volatile over the past several years.
But we're continuing. I've talked to Sean Duffy, our transportation secretary, really working to honor and elevate companies like CF Fertilizer out of Illinois that has agreed to stop any sort of maintenance on their plants so they can keep fertilizer moving and keep their prices down.
Officials say boosting domestic fertilizer capacity could help reduce dependency on global markets, where supply disruptions and geopolitical tensions have driven sharp price swings. For farmers, fertilizer remains one of the largest input expenses, making any long-term stability critical for profitability.
It's really an important issue right now, especially for our farmers in planting season. And this is not a new issue. The cost of fertilizer went up 40% in the last administration. We were working and had begun to see a little bit of moderation on that when the conflict overseas happened. And the president, was very clear there may be some tribulations. We're going to have to work our way through them. And certainly we have seen that specific to certain pieces of the fertilizer industry, but with regards to nitrogen and a few others, you've seen a big cost increase. So we have done a couple things already. We've got a lot more coming. We waived the Jones Act. We've opened up a line from Venezuela. We'll have more to announce on that in the next few days. I met with several of the CEOs of the fertilizer companies from around the world, actually.
While the details are still being finalized, the administration says the funding would support new facilities, expanding existing production, and improve distribution systems. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have shown interest, though questions remain about how quickly the investments could translate into lower costs on the farm. For now, farmers are still watching closely, hoping these efforts will bring some relief ahead of future planting seasons. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joe Everett reporting.
Thank you, Joe. We'll get a check of the markets and analysis next as the Ohio AgNet continues. Hey farmers, planting season is almost here, and Ohio AgNet wants to bring lunch to your farm. Our Feeding Farmers contest is going statewide, and we'll soon be picking farms across Ohio to receive a visit from the Ohio AgNet and free lunch for your farm family and crew. If you'd like us to stop by, get signed up today. Just visit ohioagnet.com/feedingfarmers to enter. Feeding Farmers is brought to you by Ag Revolution, Paradise Energy Solutions, and the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust.
The way farmers get their information is expanding, and now there's a new dimension of farm news for the Buckeye State. Ohio AgNet TV. Learn from other farmers, see products and practices in action, and stay connected to what is happening both locally and nationally. Plus, watch expanded video coverage throughout the growing season and beyond, with regular updates from the field and stories that highlight the people, issues, and innovations driving Ohio agriculture. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe now on YouTube by searching Ohio AgNet TV, where Ohio agriculture comes to life.
Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. Today's market analysis is brought to you by Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished sharply lower in every commodity except corn yesterday. The midweek trade started nicely enough, with most markets higher or at least trying to stay unchanged. We did see things fall apart in the afternoon session, particularly on soybeans. Brokers explained that grain volume yesterday was probably one of the lowest of the year. They're cutting, not expanding their risk appetite. Traders are tired of the constant headlines and unpredictability of day-to-day price action. Managed money sold 1,200 contracts of beans yesterday, 900 contracts of wheat, bought 3,400 contracts of soy oil. That soy oil story is interesting. We're now seeing at a near record or estimated record large 164,000 contracts long on soy oil. President Trump did indicate yesterday that U.S.-Iran war negotiations could start tomorrow. We will see what happens when we get there. But the main story of yesterday's action, cutting the risk. I'm Ryan Martin.
Let's get a check of overnight numbers in Chicago, brought to you by Seed Consultants, simply better performance, online at seedconsultants.com. Corn for May down a half penny at $4.53 3/4. December $4.82 a bushel and down a quarter cent. Soybeans for May, a penny to the plus side at $11.65 1/2. New crop November, $11.57 a bushel and a cent to the good. Wheat for July, 6.10 1/4, up 3 1/4. September wheat 2 3/4 higher at 6.23. After yesterday's close, April live cattle 246.85 down 57, May lean hogs 95.05 down 35, and feeder cattle for May 358.42 off by 12 points. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Ty Higgins reporting.